Hey, welcome back, everyone. My name is Kelcey Horn. Today, I have with me singer-songwriter and music producer Derrick Ryan.
Hey, what's up?
Welcome. It's good to have you
Yeah,
on.
thanks so much for having me.
Of course, I saw you just hit 4 million views on Spotify or listens just last year.
Yeah, so last year we did about 4 million streams. We actually did a little more, but I think it converts over to next year. I'm actually at about 6 million right now, so
Wow.
yeah.
Okay, would you say it's been your biggest year?
Oh my gosh, yeah, 2020, although like for everyone else, it was kind of like a down year for me, from where I'm not touring or
Yeah.
playing live that much anyways. Yeah, it was definitely my biggest year of growth. I've never ever had a million streams on anything, so it's pretty cool.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Of course. So you did mention touring and going around. I know obviously that's been affected by COVID, but
Yeah.
how have you been able to keep up the creative process ever since?
I've always been kind of a reclusive person, so just being, I don't have to feel bad for like being inside all the time. You know what I mean? So it's
Hmm.
really,
Yeah.
it's been a lot. There's been a lot of times that I kind of got burnt out because I was locked and cooped up a lot, but really, I think it's just helped. It's really, there's streaming, is still going to keep going when live shows don't. So I was really inspired to put out as much music as I could. I think I did like 24
Mhm.
tracks, including remixes this year. So
Okay, wow. I counted at least 10. I didn't know it was 24 though. That's even more impressive.
yeah, it was crazy.
Do you have a favorite out of all of them? I know it's kind of like asking you to pick a child, but if you could.
Golly, I would have to look through them. Now I guess it depends. Like if they're like an original one that's just me, or like a collaboration with producers. Just from where I'd rather not say, just because there's so many. They're all great, and
Hmm.
yeah, I don't really know.
Gotcha. I hear that. And because you're your own artist, but you're also a producer, how does that kind of work out with flexibility of schedule?
Well, I live off my streams every month, so thankfully, I'm really blessed to be able to just kind of work on music as I want to. It's just a process, a lot of trial and error, a lot of late nights. Sometimes a session can go, easily from 6 to like 12 hours. Some people go longer than that. My ears start going like just losing hearing basically after so long.
Hmm.
But yeah, it definitely I feel like gives me a little bit of an edge because I am able to produce my own instrumentals and completely like take an idea from my mind and put it all together.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. But kind of going into that too, we were talking before this, and I know right now you're doing pop with electronic,
Mhm.
but you've done a lot of genres in the past. Like, how did you end up in pop?
Wow. So yeah, I started playing in a band in high school. I think I had dreamed I wanted to be in a band before that. I started going to local heavy metal shows from like just meeting friends skateboarding and stuff. That was in Knoxville, Tennessee. And then I moved back to my hometown, Bristol, and I met some friends at prom, and they're like, "Yo, let's start a band." I was pretty awful at the time, honestly. I could barely like stand up and play guitar, but they still believed in me, and so that was a little short part. Then basically the next step after that, I got in a heavy metal band with a good friend of mine named Aiden. He still makes music too. We started that band together. It ended. We started another band, and then we got to play like the Vans Warped Tour. We played 2011, 2012, and 2013. And so that was kind of like
That's awesome.
a pivotal moment for me. It was just like definitely one on the bucket list just to play a Warped Tour, and because I don't think they're really
For
hosting it
sure.
anymore. And we started another metal band. Then I left that band, and I actually got into country music because I'm from Tennessee, and I was like, well, like country music probably doesn't have someone like me, so I'll give it a shot. I did that for 2 years. We went and recorded an album in Phoenix. It's kind of like pop punk country in a way, as weird as that sounds.
Interesting.
We did the record. Had some issues with that, and then basically I was kind of like back to square one. That's when I was like, we spent a lot of money on the record, and when it didn't come through, I was just like, I got to produce this myself. I can't afford to keep going to producers and paying all this money. So that was kind of like the driving force to start producing. And in that time, I got contacted to go to The Voice, and I actually like made it to blind auditions, but didn't air on TV. So I did my TV interview and stuff, and I was in Burbank for 2 weeks, and it's basically locked in a hotel room. You're not allowed to leave or anything like that. But it's kind of crazy. I made it
Mhm.
through the whole process, and I kind of thought that was my shot, you know. And then when I got cut from the show, I was just like, now what? And then yeah, I started producing a single
Mhm.
every month in 2019. Not that they were the best, but it got me enough credibility to where I could show these dance producers overseas, and "Get Along" was that song for me that really just skyrocketed my career, you know. And then just so many people started reaching
Yeah.
out to me after then. Like literally, I still get messages on Instagram, you know, every day, just of producers wanting to work together.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
How did you go from The Voice to working with producers in like Europe?
So yeah, like I was actually at The Voice in the hotel room, and I brought my interface and my MacBook, and it was just kind of a basic production, but I messed with it probably
Mhm.
just one day while I was there, and then when I got home and got to my studio monitors and listened to it, it was Carry On. It's the first track in my discography, and it was just like I was like, wow, this is actually kind of good. And so right before the first of 2019, January 1st, I was like working with one of my friends in Nashville, and I almost didn't put the song out, honestly. Like I was just so like overthinking it and everything, and because I've not been producing like my whole entire journey. It was actually something that I just felt like I had to do after The Voice, and but
Gotcha.
yeah, it was basically that, and then it ended up hitting on Spotify pretty well. It wasn't like the takeoff, but it did over like 100,000 streams. So I was like, okay, this could work, you know.
For a first song, that's gotta be hugely
Oh
encouraging.
yeah, absolutely, definitely was.
So from there, you started working with other artists and it just started to take off?
Yeah, I did Get Along in October of 2019. That's when it came out. And then there was two producers on that. So the other producer hit me up with a song, and we did that. And then 20, yeah, it was 2020. So 2020, it was just like I'm gonna put out as much music as I possibly can. Really, just work with anybody and everybody. You know, some of the artists didn't have quite of a following, but if I liked the music, I would still feature on it. It kind of like ran me dry though. Like honestly, like now, I got way too overloaded. It got to a point where there was just too many people and too many projects. So I had to take a step back and just kind of be like, okay, what's next for like original stuff, you know?
I hear that.
Mhm.
How do you, so if you're getting completely slammed, what is your process of getting back to creativity of like after you take a breath and say, okay, I need to jump back into this, but what are your steps?
Phew, that's a hard question. Basically, like you know, I'll just kind of definitely take a break, like a couple days just from
Hmm.
not listening, because I don't really even like listen to music much in the car anymore, just from where like it's just like constantly like bombarded with it.
Really?
Yeah, it's a really strange thing. I prefer podcasts now and stuff like that, but it's really hard because honestly, there's really no answer to it. You know, it's really just pushing through the procrastination and forcing yourself, even if you don't feel inspired to work. You know, but there's also those days, you
I
know,
hear
where
that.
you are inspired and it's a lot funner.
Gotcha. All right. So what would you say, not only just working with other artists, when you're producing your own songs,
Hmm.
what do you usually gear your music towards? What inspires you to write a certain song? Like you wake up and say, maybe this event got me going.
So typically, you know, I'll start with a melody, just whether it's just starting on guitar, you know, piano, or like a sample from Splice, anything like that, and then I'll just kind of build around that. And then from where I spend so much time in the instrumental, I'm already like kind of like coming up with lyrics and song ideas, and then I'll literally just like grab my microphone and like hum melodies and mumble like mumbo jumbo, like not saying words. God, it would be terrible if anybody like actually heard it, but yeah, and then I'll listen back to it, and sometimes like you'll kind of just hear like a little sentence that like sounds cool, you know, like it's not completely there, but it is, you know, and
I gotcha.
yeah, I like to call it like channel writing, you know, just kind of letting it like flow out of you instead of like sitting with pen and paper. I've never been able to do that. I don't ever write my lyrics. I
Hmm.
just my motto is if it's catchy enough, you won't forget it.
Okay, yeah, that's really different. I think a lot of people usually adhere to that putting pen to paper.
Yeah, I'm just I've never been able to do it. I guess because I go
Okay,
off
well,
the
everyone's got
melody,
their.
I think mainly it's just because like I'm not even like a words person. I'm more like melody. Like I hear that in my head, and then it's like I can attach words to it.
I gotcha. Is there a certain instrument that you use to create melody?
Um, Aside from my voice, I've been playing guitar since I was like 12 years old, 12, 13, 14, sometime around then.
Hmm.
And I'm 27 now, by the way. Um, so yeah, guitar is definitely my go-to instrument for sure when it comes to that.
Okay. And I have seen your TikToks. Would you say that it's like using TikTok as a good outlet for kind of promoting your own music and it's almost a test?
Oh my gosh, any artist that isn't utilizing TikTok right now is absolutely crazy because the organic reach is just it's insane. Like, and I don't think that it's going to be like that forever. They capped off Instagram and Facebook and stuff like that. So I think we're in a really. I've only been on TikTok for 2 weeks, and
Wow.
yeah, I mean,
You
literally,
already had a song do well too.
yeah. So for like, I already had a career going, like so. I think that's something that people kind of need to not completely rely on TikTok, but do not like sleep on that app because you're getting
Yeah.
organic exposure that it's never been this easy to get your song out to the world. And I was like, I may not be the best at making TikToks, but I'm not going to look back and be like, oh my gosh, I wish I would have done stuff on TikTok. You know what I mean? Before the
Hmm.
like, I think it's here to stay definitely, but I think that they'll definitely start limiting the reach on the app.
Yeah, I think so too. Every now and again, an app will release an update and it'll just crack down. But
Absolutely.
do you work with any kind of label?
Yeah. Get Along is signed to Disco Wax. They worked with like Martin Garrix and stuff. It's a subsidiary of Sony Denmark. Um, I've worked with Loud Cult. There's Sony Sweden, I think. Basically, all under labels are owned by the bigger labels, and
Hmm.
mainly just Sony in that aspect, and then a couple independent record labels like Armada. That was probably like one of the bucket list ones for me because I'm a really big fan of Loud Luxury, and they're on that label, so I was like pretty stoked about that.
That'd be really cool. All right. Is there any label that you'd like to work with in the future?
Um, if the deal was right, potentially, but like a lot of this, I don't sign, like I'm not signed exclusively as an artist. We do it by the individual track.
Hmm.
Part of me thinks that, like maybe getting like a major deal would be really cool, but then it scares the absolute crap out of me because I lose control, and I have to be told what to
Yeah.
do, and I'm not. I've came a long way, it's been over a decade, and I just don't know if the deal is right, I would love to maybe sign with like Republic Records or um yeah, I mean that would be cool. I'm pretty sure that's who Post Malone's on, so that'd be sick.
Maybe.
Maybe
Yeah, you probably know better than me. All I know is I know his songs. That's about it.
yeah, maybe don't quote me on that if I'm wrong on that. I'm sorry, but it'd be cool, yeah.
No, you're good. I definitely agree with you. I think that a lot of artists I've talked to anyway do kind of fear that idea of being a label because you will lose control.
Hmm.
Have you ever had that experience before?
No, I have not. So aside from like going out to The Voice, I mean the contracts there were like massive and like basically I don't know what to say. I signed an NDA with them, but it's just like I don't. It's a scary contract. It says in the whole universe. I mean,
Hmm.
like you basically sign rights to the whole universe, and I don't know what that means exactly. But um, no. But aside from that, I've never like been approached by a major label or anything right like that.
Okay, just give it time. You're blowing up right now. So, but I did mention your Spotify description before, and I read through it. It was really cool. You talked about how you had that whole background in other genres, but on an Instagram post you mentioned how you wanted to like reinvent your sound. Does that mean incorporating other genres or completely changing it?
Okay, yeah. So I'm kind of like in this transitional period where I'm kind of wanting to step away from dance music and get back to original stuff. And then TikTok, I had the video where I posted like a preview of the song, and it was kind of like a poppy kind of MGK vibes, and it got a good response. So immediately I was like, I feel like I was born to make pop punk music, and I've done it, you know. So when I saw that that was getting a response on TikTok, I was like, I contacted the best producer I known, and I knew. And we've been working the past week actually on the track, and it's pop punk vibes, and it's like full band stuff, and it's really back to where I started, and I'm really happy to be doing that. I can't wait to share that song with people. It's gonna be sick.
Is there a release date for it?
It's planned, scheduled for summer. I don't have a like specific date in mind yet, just because we're still in such the early processes of the song. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, I would love it to be honestly like the first Friday of summer, just so it's like instantly right there.
I hear ya. Like blast it while you're driving windows down like a country road.
Yeah, exactly.
So, okay, success aside, like it doesn't matter. Maybe rock did really well, maybe pop punk does really well. What has been your favorite genre, just pushing everything like amount of views aside?
I loved being in a metal band. I mean, I still love, you know, post-hardcore music, and I grew up as like an alternative kind of like emo kid, anyways. So I'd say like my favorite three bands in the world are like My Chemical Romance, Fall Out Boy, and like Bring Me the Horizon. You know,
Respect.
so yeah, I definitely it was just a special time in my life. You know, playing in a metal band. You know, I was young and I got to, you know, experience some really cool things, and it definitely like helped shape me into like who I am now. So I always have that.
Definitely. If you had one message that you want your listeners to get from your music, it can be upcoming, it can be past, what would you like it to be?
Hmm. You know, just to believe in yourself, you know, and don't let anybody, you know, kind of dictate who you are, you know, like don't be yourself, you know, like believe in you, because
Yeah,
like I don't think if you don't believe in yourself, why would anybody else, you know?
precisely. Good advice. Okay. And you put out music, I think you're on Apple Music too, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So on Spotify and Apple Music, what do you think they're doing right for smaller artists, or what could they do better?
I think Apple Music's just kind of like behind on a little bit compared to Spotify. I mean, Spotify, if you can get your song basically a few thousand streams and get in Discover Weekly, which is their algorithm, I mean, if your song's good enough, it'll get pushed out there, you know? But even having millions of streams, that doesn't really like it doesn't make you famous, you know? I think that what basically, hmm, I just think Apple Music is a little more exclusive with who they push, and then Spotify gives anybody a chance. You know, that's kind of how I feel.
Okay. Cool.
There's a
I haven't heard that perspective before.
I'm sorry about that. There's a submission portal on Spotify to pitch to like their big playlist and stuff, like the ones that everybody listens to, because you can get on an independent playlist that someone made, which sometimes those are great and get you a lot of streams, but mainly the curated list that Spotify makes are going to get you like the most streams. But in Apple Music, you don't even have that option. I think only labels do actually. So
Oh,
for now,
okay. So for the independent artists who make these playlists, do you reach out to them or do they reach out to you?
I have. Oh my goodness, when I was first going, yeah, I would just go down the list. I'd type in dance music and then contact everybody I could. Thankfully now, you know, I just kind of rely on the organic following that I have, and then if you have a label behind the song, they pitch it out, so it's a lot easier.
Okay. Well, Derek, thank you. What are your social profiles? Like, what's the name of it so people can find you?
Thank you. Instagram is just Instagram.com/Derrick Ryan, DerrickRyann. So there's two N's on that. And then Facebook, it's just Derrick Ryan Music. Twitter, Derrick Ryan, three N's. And then TikTok is Derrick Ryan with two N's, and that's about it.
All right. What's the most active one that you're on?
Well, right now I'm all over TikTok. So if you want to reach me, probably DM me on Instagram or email me. But I'm definitely on TikTok more than anything now. So it's just hard to get back to all the messages.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I certainly hope to have you back, especially when your song drops in the summer too, because summer good vibes, you always want a new song.
Absolutely.
But thank you again, and we look forward to having you back.
Thank you.